Imagine that tomorrow a stranger walks up to you and says that they have a talking giraffe in their back garden. Am I presuming too much to say that you would ignore them? Am I putting words in your mouth by saying that you wouldn't believe them, not even for a second? Maybe a 5-year-old kid would, but surely after a trip to the zoo or a few wildlife documentaries, any kid of any age would know what a giraffe is and be confident in their dismissal of a proposed giraffe gifted with the skill to communicate verbally. Now imagine, really imagine, that this stranger swears to you, with tears in his eyes, that he has long conversations with the talking, not to mention very wise giraffe, and that he and the giraffe have a personal relationship. He begs you to believe him. Do you? His tears seem real enough. He seems to believe it. But do you? Does his story sound any more believable than it did before because of his tears? Now imagine that the stranger tells you that the giraffe is going to kill you and your family if you don't believe in it. Does a threat make it more believable? No? So far, so good. You sound rational to me. You sound like you know what a giraffe is. Now imagine that you're told that the giraffe created the universe and wants a bit of credit for all that hard work, and will torture you after your death forever if you don't believe. But if you do believe, you and your family and friends can all live in everlasting bliss. What do you think? Does the threat, now combined with a promise, make it sound more believable, or perhaps less so? Do you have any doubt? Or are you daring to claim absolute knowledge concerning the non-existence of the all-powerful giraffe? What would you say as a percentage of the odds of this giraffe being a real creature? Do you give it even 1%? And if you say 0 point something, how many zeros before you reach a 1? Philosophers will tell you that you cannot reasonably claim to know with certainty that the talking giraffe doesn't exist. But how many philosophers would even cross the street to see a demonstration of its powers? Knowledge does not have to be absolute. Certainty does not have to be 100% certain. Any teenager knows a giraffe can't talk. But what if 2 people tell you they've seen the talking giraffe? Does that make it more believable? What if 3 people say they've talked to the giraffe, or 100, 10,000, 1,000,000, or 1,000 million? Do the numbers make any difference to what you are being told to believe, without so much as a hoof print of evidence? You smile and laugh and say, no, of course not. You say you know that giraffes can't talk, no matter how many people tell you that one can. And all the other stuff, the eternal punishment, the eternal reward, they only serve to make the original claim even more absurd. Right? But you are being a fool if you think the numbers don't affect you. They affect all of us. The numbers move us, or rather we are programmed to move with the numbers. There is safety in numbers. The zebra knows it, the chimpanzee knows it, and we know it. The knowledge is so deep we don't even know we know it. If you don't think 1 billion people could persuade you to at least consider the talking giraffe, that's simply your imagination failing you. It's just too difficult to imagine 1 billion fools sincerely telling you such a ridiculous tale. But what if you'd lived your entire life and never heard of organized religion? And then somebody walked up to you and made the claims in the Bible or the Quran, but only they believed it. That one person standing before you. They're the only believer and they're trying to persuade you. Do you honestly think they could do it? The numbers not only have an effect, it is a powerful force not to be underestimated. Some people can be persuaded by one voice, and then you've got 2 voices, and they can go on to persuade a third who couldn't have been persuaded by one, and before you know it, giraffism becomes a word, a movement, a worldview, and converts become easier. Somewhere between 2 and 1 billion fools lies the power to persuade even highly intelligent, seemingly rational people of absurdities. Religion, probably your religion, which is probably the religion of your parents, is not concerned with the belief in or the search for God. It is always about the belief in one very particular God, with a whole book of stories and associated beliefs that come along with it. Giraffists could learn a lot from Christianity and Islam. Rule 1. Call your giraffe by another name, a word that simply means what you want to claim exists: the creator of the universe, the judge of humanity, all-powerful, all-knowing. Call it God, and even the educated won't laugh at you. To a simple mind, if the word God exists and has existed for so long, then God probably exists too. It's that simple. Rule 2. Make your giraffe's voice only audible to believers. The silence of the giraffe then becomes evidence in your favour. Rule 3. Make your giraffe invisible and untouchable, so every request for a hoofprint can be soundly mocked. Better yet, claim every beautiful thing in existence is one gigantic, universe-sized hoofprint. And then the evidence is really mounting up in your favour. Giraffists must learn from modern, organised religion. Call what is rational irrational. Call what is reasonable stupidity. Call what is invisible and undetectable absolutely obvious. Call what is contradictory consistent. Call what is unjust perfect justice. Define modern evidence as ancient opinion. Call what gives people dignity shameful. Call ignorance knowledge. Call what is true a lie. The tactics are obvious and surprisingly simple. Just turn reality on its head, for only by doing that can organised religion seem defensible and at all believable. The gods of the holy books today are simply doppelhoofers, the mutated and more virulent strain of what was born in the minds of the earliest humans. But those same minds are the minds we have today. The cave brain was structurally no different from the city brain. Raise a child with wolves and he or she will be little more than a wolf. So why do the numbers make a difference? Why do the voices of 100 or 1 billion have more power than the voice of one? Well, that's down to evolution. If we are to be more than our inner ape, we must fight the inner ape. But to fight it, you must first see it. We, as a social animal, cannot survive on our own. Just as a chimpanzee has little survivability without its group, so it is with us, as it is for the zebra that strays too far from its herd. We are not fast runners, we are not armoured or poisonous, we have no claws or fangs worthy of the name. We are the offspring of wise cowards. This beautiful world wants to eat us. Without our numbers and our technology, it could. Put Chuck Norris naked and unarmed in the African savannah at sunset, and by sunrise the next day all you'll have left is a lion's lazy belch. All we have is each other, our knowledge, and of course the safety in numbers. Those of our ancestors that went their own way died, probably before finding a mate. The loner genes largely died out. There's a reason why solitary confinement is the most feared punishment in any penitentiary. Don't be affected by the numbers of Christians or Muslims. Don't be a nervous ape. Think for yourself. Listen to their arguments. But when you do, imagine that they are the beliefs of just one person. Imagine that you were born into a world without organised religion, and that you are hearing the word hell for the very first time. John Lennon said that imagining no religion is easy if you try. I don't think he's right about that. I think it's very difficult. But that doesn't mean you can't do it.